In order at 6 p.m.
Oh, thank you.
Roll call. Commissioner Gonzalez is present. Commissioner Crosby is present. Commissioner Garcia is present. Commissioner O'Keefe is present. Supervisor Thomas is excused, and so is Supervisor Marshall is excused. Commissioner Marshall is excused. He did call me, indicated that he had to work tonight. I did not get any information from Supervisor Berg, so I do not know where he is at. So, next agenda, approval of minutes. Did everyone get a copy of the minutes?
Yes. I motion we accept.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Motions have been approved. Agenda number 3, citizens' comments. I guess what'll be the easiest for the citizens' comments, because I want to make sure everyone gets an opportunity to be heard, even though we are in a small room. So you want to come closer to the table? Do you have your iPad?
I feel like we're playing musical chairs.
Yeah, music.
I mean, at all times.
Yeah.
All right, same thing, citizens' comments, 3 minutes each individual. We do not have microphones due to the fact that we are in a small room. Go ahead.
I am Gail Clark Taylor. I live at 7624 18th Avenue in Kenosha. I was not able to attend last month's meeting, and when I was finally able to read the Kenosha News account of the meeting, I was very, very surprised. I saw that you had approved a resolution to encourage the state legislators to expand the parental choice program to include Kenosha County. The reason I was surprised about this is because I was not aware that there was an education committee. I remember a little mention of possibly an education committee would be formed. So obviously, if there is no education committee, they didn't analyze data collected. They didn't look at what are the problems with education in Kenosha related to racial and ethnic minorities. And they did not come up with a plan to address those difficulties, problem areas. But yet you decided that expanding vouchers to Kenosha County is what's going to solve the problem. It will not. When public school students leave the public schools and go to a private school system, the public school system loses thousands of dollars per student. And that has been going on since '91. Kenosha Public Schools have lost millions of dollars due to vouchers, and they've lost lots of money due to the scaling back of state monies that we receive. And that leaves us in a position where Kenosha Unified has to be closing schools. Removing money from the Kenosha school system, putting it in a private school system does not do anything to support the minority members of our community. And then we have, tonight, I see a resolution, a presentation by Women's Alliance Health. I might be calling that wrong. But I looked and looked and looked. I know we have an education committee. I could not find any data from the education committee. I could not find anything about weighing the problems and weighing the methods of addressing health problems. And yet you're looking at one agency that I'm assuming you're going to think is solve the entire health problems of the Black and minority
Your time.
populations in Kenosha.
3
Thank
minutes,
you.
your time's are up. Anyone else for citizen comments? We had it all set up for citizen comments, people sign in, then it would have sit there, would have been perfect, but we're here now, so go ahead, sir.
Well, thank you for the time to address the board. My name is James Kedrow. I am a retired lieutenant colonel with 28 years of service. I'm a physician assistant, which is now known as physician associate, with about 20 years of experience. I like to praise the volunteer and cost-free organization that Alliance Family Services provides the people of Kenosha County, especially the women that are in crisis pregnancy. I helped a little bit with the startup of this organization, which was originally known as CareNet. They provide outstanding services at no cost to the community. And they have a medical director, so they are a medical facility. They have an excellent nurse midwife, several highly trained nurses that specialize in limited OB/GYN ultrasounds to allow women to see their unborn child. They provide prenatal care, and this is all without a cost to the community. And it's staffed by volunteers, and then the paid staff is paid by donations through fundraising and good-hearted people. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comments.
Heidi Helgeson, 6507 40th Avenue. This has been about the 7th time or the 7th month that I have reached out through email. I have reached out to Samantha Kirkman to find out if y'all have read any of the data that y'all asked for. It's been supplied by numerous people. Again, people being on this commission without knowing the purpose or the mission, and then not even being able to reply to an email when they're asked about it. To me, that's not doing the job, okay? This stuff that the commission is coming up with is not appropriate to the mission and purpose, and y'all need to learn the job or get out. And then finally, I want to do a little anecdotal experience, like share an anecdotal experience. I was at a meeting last month, and some guy decided that he thought he wanted to intimidate me, I guess. So during this meeting, got up and got within a few feet of me and got his camera out and glowered. African-American security guard came up to him and asked him, I think twice, to sit down. Ignored him. Then a big white man came up all the way around the room. He didn't even have to speak to this person. And that person sat down and behaved. So racism is alive and well in Kenosha County, friends, and I wish you would deal with it.
Hello. I'm Lily Von Bessel. I live at 8818 Camp Lake Road in Salem, Wisconsin. And I think this is about the 4th meeting I've come to, just because the issue interests me and I wanted to see what the progress is. And so I've been asking that we just focus on getting the job done, because we need everybody to work on this. So Kenosha's been mired in the issues of race, and I'm just not so sure that the REC has really set out any measurable action plans or goals. And if they have, I'd just like to know what those are. And if members are interested in doing the work of addressing systemic racism, because I think that's the reason why the commission was formed. So tonight, again, there are agenda items dealing with what appear to be conservative causes, like the vouchers and the abortion messaging. And I don't care what party you identify with, I'm just not so sure that's the right place for pushing partisan issues. That's not what the commission is about. So, the REC And I'm not sure why they keep approving these also if they don't serve the goals, so I'm just confused about that. And one thing that I thought of is that we don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel. If there are lots of communities that have been dealing with this, maybe we could find out what other communities have done and had success with, and just shamelessly plagiarize, you know, after adjusting for Kenosha specifics and data that we've been collecting. I just happened to run across something that the CDC put out. It has tools on policy making to advance rural racial equity. And I have a copy of the table of contents, and there's just a whole list of ideas, and, you know, are we looking at things like that and considering them and talking about it? I just don't know, because I haven't seen any big progress. We did hear from a committee member last time saying there was something being done, but I just am not sure what it is. So I just ask again that everyone do the work, do it well, and we need all of you. Thank you.
Anyone else for citizen comments? You signed it.
Did.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair. Sorry.
Don't come here with your sarcasm. Go ahead and
Hey,
speak
y'all.
and go from
Oh
there.
my
Hey,
God.
y'all. How you doing? You know what? I don't really care how you doing. I'd like to say that I'm shocked, but I'm not. You really should change the name of this agenda from the Racial and Ethnic Equity Commission agenda to the Conservative agenda. You can save the pray over you presentation, because I propose the following. Whereas the REEC has no business in attempting to financially incentivize childbirth. Whereas the REEC should respect a woman's decision over her own body concerning her own pregnancy and stick to the topic of access to reproductive health care. Whereas financially incentivizing pregnancy and childbirth will not prevent abortions. Whereas it will only increase unsafe abortions. Whereas the REEC will strongly and genuinely attempt to be more transparent with the populations that this committee is intended to serve. Whereas, although you are volunteers on this committee, it does not mean that you shouldn't be held accountable for the lip service that you provide. Whereas, the commission members and their lack of leadership stick to the purview of the commission's mission. Be it resolved that this commission begin to offer transparency to this community as it begins to work towards dismantling the systemic and institutionalized racism that firmly exists in this county, instead of perpetuating it and offering lip service to the people that it's supposed to serve. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Anyone else for citizen comments?
So, first, hi, my name is Sabrina Landry, 4047 29th Avenue, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Every time I come to these meetings, I am more and more disheartened and disappointed in what this commission is doing. You guys aren't sticking to the topics that need to be addressed. There's always a reason, whether it be the first meetings where it was about the award and then about school. What do you guys have to do with that? Like, I don't understand. And then this anti-abortion clinic, where you go on their website and they've saved 65 babies in the US last year in 2022. Like, this is what we're going for, but this is, you clap, Chair, Mr. Chair, sir. But that's you completing your own agenda, not the agenda of this community. And if you have a problem with me, say it to my face. You shouldn't even be on this board.
you can address me directly, I'll address you back, but I would just assume, I would just
Mr.
recommend for you
Chair.
to just finish your comments.
I hope more people on this commission are starting to realize the agenda that is really playing out here. Like, seriously. And vote against these things. This is not the time or place to be addressing these issues. This is not the place for that. Do that on your own time, or create a different board completely, commission board completely for things that, I mean, you call it, conservative commission board. Do something different. Don't waste our time by accomplishing nothing with this board. That's what we're all here for. We want to see change in the city. And that's what this board was meant to do. So please do your jobs.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else for citizen comments? Going once? Going twice? Citizen comments are closed. Agenda number 4, subcommittee reports. Law enforcement.
Mr. Chair, as I had stated last time, the subcommittee, the law enforcement subcommittee, has completed their report, and we are simply waiting to present that to the executive committee when we have the time. Otherwise, I do not report any other changes to the report itself.
Okay, thank you for your work. Housing Subcommittee report, Mr. Marshall is obviously excused, he had to work today. I did have discussions with Mr. Marshall, I did speak to him, we did look at some data. So we're hoping to have a report by November for the Housing Subcommittee. Some of the issues that we did look at are housing prices right now are going up. So housing prices right now in Kenosha County and the city of Kenosha are pretty high, obviously. Interest rates right now are at an all-time high. Mortgage rates right now are over 7% to get a mortgage, which that also gives the inability for a lot of several individuals to be able to buy a home. And we also look in data where it looked at single-parent household versus a two-parent household. There's data there where if you're a single parent, obviously you have less buying power versus if you are a two-parent household, then you obviously have more buying power to buy a home. So that's some of the data that we did look at, and our intention is to have a full report by November. Also, I know it's just Mr. Commissioner Marshall's not here, Courtney's not here today, but I believe we might meet after Thanksgiving. Every Thanksgiving he passes out meals in Uptown area. He's planning to do it this year again, so just let you know that he's going to be out there in Thanksgiving passing out meals to the community like he does every year. Education Subcommittee.
We had another meeting. We've done a second draft of our report. I sent that around to people. We got some responses, and yeah, I don't know, it's ready. Besides the discussion regarding the state statute that you wanted added to it. I didn't get a chance to get it over to Dwayne any sooner, but I don't think I have hard copies if anyone needs it, but none of the information is different than what we presented last time. It's just in a more inclusive language and a different format. It's a very light second draft, so yeah, that's it.
Okay. Agenda number 5 is.
Mr. Chair, I got a couple questions if I can on subcommittee reports.
All right, go ahead.
In regards to the reports, I understand the law enforcement report is complete. Are we submitting these individually to the executive committee, or are we going to be voting them here?
We're going to submit them all at once.
To the executive committee?
this executive
Are we gonna be
committee.
voting on them here?
It would be-
To accept each one?
It'll be for the recommendations, correct? So, like some of the recommendations we already voted on, they passed. And I would have to go back to look at the minutes, but we would have to approve the recommendation, which I'm hoping to do it by,
We didn't last time.
you just sent it through
Yeah.
last time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then in November,
So each subcommittee's going to finish each of their reports, and there's no input or discussion from the commission or vote on from the commission?
I mean, I guess we could forward it to all the commissioners, they could review the reports, and if there's an issue, I guess you could, bring up the issue.
Okay, the second question is the education. You had stated, Commissioner Garcia, that you had sent them out. I don't think I got a copy of it. Can I get a copy of that?
Sure.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, no problem.
Just to add to that, Mr. Chair, it was Supervisor Berg, it was told to us that we have to present them all at the same time to the executive committee, so that's why, to answer your question. So
No, yeah.
we're not gonna do it individually. We
Well, I
have
know
to
we're not
present
gonna
them all at the same-
report, give each report or submit each report individually to the commission or to the executive committee. I've already had that discussion.
Oh, okay.
But in terms of everybody on the commission being able to see the final reports before they're submitted to the executive committee, I think it's kind of important if we're making these recommendations or these reports that everybody on the commission be able to see the report.
Okay, I see what you're saying, okay.
There. Anything else, Vice Chair Gonzalez?
No, sir, that's it.
All right, agenda number 5, presentation from the Alliance and Women's Clinic. So back in 2020, 2021, Kenosha County did pass certain resolutions indicating that it was a health crisis in Kenosha County. Some of the data that was used by Is it too loud?
No, we're good.
It's gonna get,
It'll get too warm.
it's gonna get hot, yeah, but I think we should be good. Thank you. So, some of the data that was looked at by the Kenosha County Board was the fact that the mortality rate in Kenosha County among black mothers was 9.9 deaths per 1,000 live births, compared to the white counterparts at a rate of 3.5 deaths per 1,000 births. Black mothers in Kenosha County were 2.5 times more likely to receive inadequate prenatal care than their white counterparts, and black babies with a low birth weight was 18.3% in Kenosha County, while white babies' low birth rate was at 6.7%. Indicating also that 84.6% of white mothers in Kenosha County are breastfeeding upon hospital discharge, whereas only 56% of Kenosha County black mothers are breastfeeding upon discharge. During citizen comments, when I did indicate that I did clap, I may have been out of order, but when I did clap, and I will always clap if it means that it is saving babies, regardless of what your stance are on and this is not an abortion agenda, regardless if whatever you want to say, it's pro-life or pro-choice or whatever. Babies are being saved. I will always clap, and I will go on the record that I will always clap if babies are being saved. Now, there are other resources in our community. There are other resources in Kenosha County which will provide free of charge to mothers who are pregnant and who will need the needs and the help that they need. So with that said, I would yield to Vice Chairman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the reason why we wanted to bring forth the Alliance Women's Clinic is for those reasons that you had addressed. I believe, Mr. Chair, part of our duty was to find alternatives to be able to help minority women and children as well. I had come across Women's Health Alliance, Family Health Alliance, I believe they are also called. One thing I noticed about them, and Miss Erica will explain this, they are there to help from beginning to middle to end during birth. And they're not only there to help the mothers themselves, they are there to help the family as a whole, including the father of these children. So without me giving away the whole presentation, I would like to bring up Miss Erica Birdie, please, and you can give your presentation, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Do you want me to sit here? Do you want me to?
You could, I could sit over here and then you could sit here, because then the camera, like,
Great. Grab a couple of these just for commission members.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Erica Millar, and thank you to the Commission for inviting me. You made several comments and allusions to why this is such a big, important thing. This is my passion, and it absolutely is the truth that nationwide there are health disparities. OBGYN care historically has been more difficult to access for those in a diverse community. For whatever reason. And we know because of those barriers to access to care that ends up looking like higher mortality rates, lower levels of breastfeeding. And those aren't just isolated things, those progress all the way into chronic disease processes and things that happen later in life, as well as even into the field of epigenetics, looking at the grandchildren of some of these women who need care. So just a little bit about me. I am a certified nurse midwife. I am licensed in the state of Wisconsin as an advanced practice nurse. I have 23 years of experience in women's health. That is my passion. That's all I've ever done. I've practiced in multiple places in this country. I've also lived outside of the United States, and I know what it's like to have great health care, and I know what it's like to not have great health care. So my philosophy of care is about midwifery, which means literally with women. What does that mean? It's about advocacy. It's about empowerment for women. I tell my students, I'm also a professor. I teach nursing. I've taught at the master's level. I teach at the bachelor's level currently. But I teach them that my goal is that when a woman walks in for care, we don't see them as a pair of breasts and a uterus. That is not OBGYN care. That's not quality care. We need to see them as a whole woman, and that is physical, emotional, spiritual, and that is correct nursing care. So a little bit about Alliance Women's Clinic. I'm so excited that I can actually share a little bit about it because it's evident to me that many people either don't know who we are, they don't really know what we do, the breadth of what we do, and it's something that is really valuable, I think, to our community. And we exist to support women and families who have real needs. And it's not just one need, it's a lot of different needs. And we are, as you said, free of charge. So somebody made a comment about financial incentives or incentivizing. We have no agenda other than to help women and children and families. And we do not profit in any way. That is something that kind of gets to me, is to see women treated as a commodity, profited off of, because that's not what they are. They're not a political bargaining chip. Every woman is a story. Every baby, every birth, every caring, whether it's a loss, whether it's a wanted loss, a not wanted loss, or a birth of any kind, is its own story, and it's special. So we operate off the core principles of things like human dignity, which also means the common good. We are faith-based and gospel-centered. And what does that mean? Compassion, courage, and we operate out of operational excellence. And so our ultimate goal is to give women stability and independence. And you made mention a little bit too about the lifespan. And so part of what I do in our facility is offering a continuity of care. This is so important. And it's where women who don't have means, who don't have insurance, they oftentimes will fall through the cracks. They can just sort of fall off the map, sometimes after establishing care somewhere, or that may take weeks. There's a couple of women that I'm seeing right now that would have no care. They would have no prenatal care until 20 weeks. Because of the fact that they can't get seen or even make an appointment because they don't have insurance. It takes time. I don't know if you've ever had to try to apply through federal websites, state websites. It's hard. There's a lot of red tape and having to go through that. And so some of what we do is helping women connect. If I could get anything across, it's access to care, removing barriers, helping people to see that they have the ultimate choice. So I do take some offense when people say that there is a pro-choice and that somehow we are not. I think whatever we do is the ultimate choice, the ultimate of providing truth and accurate, complete information. And so that's how women make the best choices, when they have informed choices. So no matter what women choose, whether it's abortion, whether it's adoption, whether it's parenting, we are behind them 100%. And we want people to return to us. So again, and that's why they return. Because when people are given truthful information, when they're listened to, and when they're given time and seen as a person, they value that. And so they do return. We do offer pregnancy tests, we offer ultrasounds, we do STI testing, prenatal care up through 20 weeks, and then we also do post-abortive follow-up. And that would be just on the medical care side. But we do a lot more than that. We have support services, and we look, I think the assessment piece is really huge because that's the listening part where we start. And we say, where are there gaps? Where are there holes? Where are there barriers to you accessing what you need? Is it housing? Do you need housing? Do you need transportation? Do you have insurance? How can we help you with that? Are there language barriers? I see multiple women who have been undocumented, who have serious language barriers, and that pretty much puts a hard stop on them getting access to what they need, including food, including housing. How would you apply for a job? And that's so limiting. So how are we supposed to encourage and empower these women to be independent and stable when they can't even get basic needs on that level? So we want to remove barriers to that. Again, many of our clients, I just think they have never been seen and heard. And so that's why they come back. They're not rushed through. We do have material assistance, things like diapers and wipes, other baby items. We offer parenting classes on everything from postpartum care to breastfeeding to how do we just take care of a baby. I talked to somebody this week who she's carrying her baby and she has a different father of this baby and it's his first child. And she's really concerned. They're also culturally diverse, the two of them. And so when you understand that child rearing, pregnancy and birth has such cultural connotations, and she realizes that, and she wants him to feel valued in the relationship. And so she has asked specifically for us to have joint parenting classes for them. And so we're going to tailor that to them individually and what they need. We offer birthing classes, doula services, all kinds of counseling, one-on-one mentorships, peer support. I can't think of another organization that would offer the breadth of what we have. And so it changes lives, it's hope. And so I hope people that can see that. So a couple other things to mention. We see about 60 to 70 clients every month. We have 2 locations, one in Kenosha and one in Racine. But we might have women who are coming in just to confirm a pregnancy. They don't know what they're going to do, and they don't know if they're pregnant. We might have women who do know they're pregnant or are pretty sure, but they want to confirm it's viable. Because why would I want to seek an abortion if I don't have a viable pregnancy? And I'm honestly not 100% sure that they wouldn't be charged for an abortion, even if it wasn't viable. About 25 to 27% of all pregnancies do not progress to term. And so that's part of that piece of accurate, complete information so that they can make the best choice. Because how do I decide if I'm going to have an abortion or if I'm not, if I don't even know for sure if I have a viable pregnancy? And so we might have women who just want to talk through their options. I teach bachelor, senior nursing students about abortion, and most of them can't tell me the difference between the morning after pill, the abortion pill, a chemical abortion, and a medical abortion. So, and I would venture to say that maybe half the women in this room don't know that either. I'm a pharmacology professor, so I'm pretty much an expert on pharm. So I could tell you all about the abortion pill, and I want to be sure that my clients know everything there is to know about it and answer any questions that she has, because that's how she's going to make the best choice. We want women who have chosen abortion to come back for a follow-up. It's a traumatic experience, whether it is wanted or if it's a not choice or if I'm not sure about my choice. But a lot of times they won't go back to where they went. They didn't feel comfortable there. But they'll come back to us because they know that we don't have judgment for them, and we're going to give them clear and accurate, good medical care. And so we encourage all of our clients to do that. We might have women who want to parent, but they just don't, they feel they're backed into a corner because they don't have the resources. And so we can offer that. We might have couples looking to make their family unit stronger. They want to be better parents. And then we also offer financial counseling and career counseling, and we can get people connected with child care. So there just is, I would just really challenge you to, if you have questions or if you are concerned, come talk to us. We'd love to be able to share with what we do. And we want as many women in Kenosha County we want to be effective for them, because we know that in the long term we make changes. I can go on and on, but I want to open it up for any questions that you might have for me. I know a couple of our staff are here as well.
Is there questions from the board that you would have for Ms. Millar?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and ask a couple.
Yeah.
First, I want to commend you on what you do for the community. I think that services need to be provided on many different levels. Oftentimes spiritual is one that attracts many to make the decisions that they do. Spiritual, non-spiritual, I think the ability of having different options is good out there. It's good to have, and I commend you for what you guys are doing and for expanding to Kenosha. Couple of questions I had is, do you happen to, so we often know that a program is not always tailored for everyone, right? So for instance, the chair had brought up statistics on black mothers and babies versus white mothers and babies. What kind of data do you guys collect? Do you collect based on race of those that come in, and what is that percentage?
So we don't collect data based on race. We collect data, but are you asking like how many black women do we see?
So of the 100%, do you see 25% black women or 10% Latinos?
I would say that's kind of a difficult question for me to ask. I could definitely get that from our board, but some women choose not to answer those questions on our basic demographics because honestly, sometimes women don't want to give us their name or their phone number or where they live, or they don't have a house or an address, or so sometimes those things are just really private, so we don't go after people for that. A lot of our women don't necessarily identify with one particular race over another because, as you know, Kenosha and this area, we see women from Chicago up through Milwaukee to Wauwatosa. And they come to us, why? Because we have such good ratings and they hear from other people, and because we offer so many services. So That would be difficult. I don't see women in my head that way. I just, again, as I said, it's my philosophy of care, that I see them as who they are, which is women, that should be honored and valued.
Sure, I understand that completely. Just like I had said earlier about there's obviously a disproportionate aspect of birth weight and breastfeeding.
Yeah.
And I think we need to find other avenues. So that's why I had asked if you happen to have those numbers, because maybe that's something that you guys can maybe change a program or tweak a program so that it can help out others. Other
Absolutely.
people.
I mean, I can tell you that it is a majority. There is more than 50% of who we see would be from a diverse background, whatever that might be. And absolutely, we're always looking at that. Breastfeeding is like one of my favorite things to talk about. And I did a capstone project in college on what drives people to make that choice to breastfeed. And there's a huge cultural piece to that, huge. And that varies country to country. You can't say, well, Latin Americans do this or whoever does that, because it's very different from family unit to family unit. So that's a huge thing. In fact, I bring it up. Every single woman that I see for prenatal care gets a full head-to-toe assessment, a full physical. I'll tell you that that's not happening in most of our OBGYN clinics, and as part of that, I talk about breastfeeding to every single woman I see. And so it would be great if we could get, our prenatal care is on the earlier end, so long-term, it would be great to see how many of those women are breastfeeding in the hospital, how many are at 3 months, how many are at 6 months, how many are at a year. That would be awesome. But we do have people that then are coming back and then getting breastfeeding support in our clinic, or we're connecting them with La Leche or other organizations out there.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Is there any other questions from any of the?
Yeah, just a quick question. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming up here and speaking with us. The question that I have is, I noticed on the site that it says you guys take insurance or not, and all of our services are provided at no cost to the client ever.
Yeah.
How do you guys, pretty much foot the bill?
So we do have an occasional grant that comes in, and we do have great people that will try to write for grants, but the majority, overwhelming, comes from donor support, 100%.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
Excuse me, thank you also. Do you offer a drug counseling for people that might be addicted to drugs that are coming in with
So
pregnancies?
that's a super important part. Thank you for bringing that up, because that gives me another example to talk about. So you can imagine that there may be a higher level of addiction in underserved communities. And so if in the example I've already given, if they are not able to connect with an OBGYN in the area for care until after 13 weeks, but we know that the most sensitive time is the first trimester, right? After that, the fetus is completely formed and much less susceptible to any changes. So the assessing for that and lifestyle and what's going on in their life, so important. The sooner we can do that, the better. So if we're looking at 6 to 7 weeks, I have so much more ability. We have connections to women who have nicotine, smoking. I consider those two different things, illicit drugs, and anything else that may be a problem. I talk about nutrition. I mean, I could go on and on talking about nutrition because it's so important. We give free vitamin supplementation and that. I also recommend that to my women who choose abortion, because your body is doing things that doesn't normally do. So vitamins are only going to help you, and particularly if you end up losing a lot of blood. You have iron supplementation. I talk a lot about that, but we have a lot of connections, and we would be, if you know of any more and want to make sure that we have that as a way to connect women to, let us know, because we would love that. But we do assess for all of that at our very first appointment, which would not even be prenatal necessarily. Just at any touch point that we have with women, we want to know what's going on and how can we support health from a primary prevention kind of way.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I had talked about earlier about helping the fathers of
Yes.
these children. Can you explain a little bit more about what you would do for the fathers of these children?
Sure. Well, we always are first and foremost, we want to be sure that our women are in a safe, that they feel safe, that there's nobody who's pressuring them to make any decisions one way or another, that they're in a safe place, housing-wise, and that their relationship is safe. We also assess for any past trauma, violence, things like that, because we know that that can impact relationships. But we do ask if they are in contact with the father of the baby. A lot of times we have the father present in our appointments, and we want to involve them because it's a family unit. And we know that when we have both parents present, that that child automatically is going to have more options, more chance at success. So we do. And we want to encourage involvement of the father at every point. We have men on our staff that can provide one-on-one counseling, mentoring. Oftentimes couples will come together for financial counseling, career counseling. We have social workers on staff who's licensed as well.
Okay. Is there any other questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Couple more. Was it Verdi last name?
No, Millar.
No, Millar.
Millar.
I
Gotcha.
messed it
Millar.
up, yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
I was thinking of somebody else.
I didn't know who that was
I'm sorry,
either.
Erica. Yeah, I know her name, and I just was like, yep.
Ms. Millar, we have in Kenosha, Kenosha Community Health Center, and I noticed on your flyer here you have community referrals. Do you guys work with Kenosha Community Center or Health Center?
We often do.
Okay.
They have a lot of great nurses on staff there, and we have recently connected one of our clients. They actually contacted us after meeting with somebody in a home visit because they identified housing as a need for her. We do have a home that is actually, it's called the Hope House, that's available to women who are pregnant. Several women that are there, and it's just really a great option. So they know that about us, and they know we do good things, so we work really well together with them.
Okay. And on that community referrals, what other community referrals are there that you refer out to, like for Kenosha County, for example?
Well, of course, like WIC, food stamps. We get people hooked up with Badger Care. I know just in my own professional life a little bit of the different OBGYN options that are in the community, and I know we have referrals to all of those, whether they want midwifery care or home care or whatever. I know which ones tend to take a little longer with insurance, and so that way I know that I can kind of walk with them a little bit longer while we go through that process.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions?
So you indicated you have a large Spanish-speaking clientele,
Yes.
and you have staff that are Spanish-speaking?
Yes, I actually lived in Puerto Rico for 3 years, so if you've ever been to Puerto Rico, I would not say that they have the best grammar. I actually think that's the Colombians, but I speak enough Spanish to be helpful, and then we have actual translators on staff that are on call that we bring in as well.
And then like parenting classes or any counseling, you refer them to Spanish-speaking counseling? Or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Really important that we can remove a language barrier whenever we can.
Anything else from the commissioners?
Is there anything that you can tell the community where they could contact you? How would they go about making a donation to you if that's what they wish?
Sure.
And any other information you would like to give about yourself that would be helpful for the public?
Absolutely, we love to give tours, show people. We oftentimes will have people call us that say, hey, I have a lot of this, or I have access to diapers, or I have access to formula, or whatever. Sometimes we have moms that very specifically need a particular type of formula, and so the second we get something like that in, we make connections and phone calls, and we have those clients coming in getting it that same day. So if you have anything, any material things that you want, you can call us. I brought extra flyers for anybody who might want it. And then on the website that is available there's also a place for donations if you'd like. Yeah, sometimes we have people who just have a real specific thing. Maybe a larger donation, a car, or I don't know if anybody needed that or something like that, and we're able to connect that. It often works out just perfectly. So you can be sure that whatever you were going to donate to us would be put to really good use. Yeah, there's always a story.
Okay. Any other questions? Well, on behalf of the commission, I want to thank you for taking your time to come here to explain all this to us.
Absolutely.
We very much appreciate your time, and I know the community will be better for it now that they have heard about this. So thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you for the staff. And thank you to the staff that came out also. Appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah, thanks, Amy. Thank you for getting her name. Jeez.
You're having a tough day.
Screw
Your
it.
phone keeps going on. Oh my God.
I'm just like
It's one of those days where you're like, you know what, I'm going back to bed.
Exactly. And I know her name too. Just like,
We're almost done. Agenda number 6, recommendation and possible action on supporting Assembly Bill 343. It's obviously a recommendation to the subcommittee. So I could speak a little bit about Assembly Bill 343. It is in front of you. So it is a Assembly bill which I believe has now passed Assembly. I believe it has not passed the Senate yet, but it will pass the Senate, and this is at the state level. And then once it's passed, it's going to go to the governor to sign it or not. Some of the, I guess, the meat and bones of the Assembly bill is the fact it has to do with state income tax, with claiming an exemption or a credit. It also defines what a dependent is. So a dependent for Wisconsin state purposes is a unborn child, and it will begin in the taxable year which a person is qualified to get the tax exemption that day. It also, right now, the exemption for each child in Wisconsin is $700. This Assembly bill will increase it to $1,000 for each dependent. So, and just so you're aware, this is just at the state level, not at the federal level. So that's what the meat and bones is of Assembly Bill 343, which I do, and I'm not a politician, but at least the research that I've done, I do believe that it's going to pass the Assembly or the legislature, and it's going to go to the governor for him whether to sign it or to veto it. Some of the reasons that I'm presenting this recommendation to get forwarded to our county board, so our county board then can get support and send it to our legislator, but also to our governor, for our governor to sign this bill. Obviously, one of the reasons for a dependent, obviously, it's a tax break per dependent. Obviously, if you're working out there and you're being taxed, at least we could return the money back to the people, because that's who actually it belongs to. As gas prices over the last 12 months have been high. I put gas maybe like 2 days ago, it was $3.09. Today I put gas and it was probably like $3.30. So they just keep going up. I know sometimes gas prices have hit close to $4. Price of milk has gone up. Groceries has gone up. So we just had inflation so high. So I believe the Assembly then with this bill will give at least families somewhat of a tax break. So that's the reason that I'm presenting it to the commission and as a recommendation to go to the county board as a whole.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Well, I was going to open up for discussion, so go ahead.
Mr. Chair, may I ask, the question is, what does this have to do with our commission?
It has to do a lot with our commission because it applies to it applies to mothers or individuals who have children. Inflation has affected everyone, regardless of what race you are. But every time there's inflation, it always hits the lower classes in our country or in our state.
No, I beg to differ, because I'm not lower class, and it is just the same, but.
I did not say you were lower class. I indicated
No,
that.
I'm speaking for myself. I said, I'm not lower class, but inflation hits me just the same as it does everyone else except the upper class.
Inflation hits everyone from top to bottom, regardless. But my point is though is that the ones that are in the lower class are the ones that get affected the most, especially when it comes to transportation.
But this has nothing to do with transportation.
It has to do. It's
What
a
you're
tax.
presenting right now has nothing to do with transportation, so.
It's a tax break. It's a tax break to families. It's a tax break. It's an exemption. So during tax year, when you file for taxes,
What the bill is actually saying is not a tax break. It's an incentivized $300 extra if you wanna not have an abortion, if you wanna.
that's not what the bill says.
It doesn't?
No,
You sure about that?
I'm positive.
Then why does it say that human life begins at conception? What purpose does that have to do with the bill?
Because meaning then that human life begin. No, that's not what it says. It says
Yeah, actually it does. Section
No.
3, in section 3, line 18, item A. So before you present something, fully read it, please.
no. That's not what it says. It indicates that it has to have a fetal heartbeat. So once there's a fetal heartbeat,
No.
heartbeat.
It says human life begins at conception.
When you read number 15, it says section 3, non-statutory provisions. But when you go to section 1 and section 2 of the bill, that's when it states with the tax break or the tax
that's not what
exemption.
I'm reading it says that human life begins at
Okay,
conception.
well, it's presented before the commission, so if you want to vote for it, I mean, you could vote however you want.
It has nothing to do with this commission, but continue.
I disagree with you, but,
And you can't
go ahead.
disagree with me.
Go ahead, Supervisor Berg.
I'm gonna make a motion to table this to the next meeting for the reason that all that's on the agenda is recommendation of possible action on supporting Assembly Bill 343, and the resolution and the writing of the Bill 343 wasn't provided to us until an hour and 21 minutes before the board meeting. Oh.
Is there a second?
I second it. Because I honestly didn't receive that
Any
email.
discussions?
I didn't receive that email from you until 4:33.
Any discussions?
50, whatever, hour before.
Let's call it.
Yeah, I'll continue on my motion.
All right,
It's been,
I was gonna go to vote, so,
will you ask for more discussion?
Yeah, don't we have to have discussion on the motion?
go ahead.
It's plainly because of the open records law. We have an open records law. We're supposed to be providing this stuff to not only us that are voting on these items, but also to the community that's supposed to be coming to speak about citizens' comments and speaking on resolutions or recommendations and whatnot. I think it's also fair to those that sit on any board, commission, or committee that we receive this information. You can refer back to Supervisor Decker that got quite a bit upset a couple years ago when we were provided the information the day before or the day of. And that's really not professional for us to read through yours, read through the assembly bill, see where it's at on in the legislature. I mean, if it's already passed the assembly, then by the time the Senate gets it, they're already gonna vote on this thing, so it's gonna be null and void. But my point is open records law. And all these items should have been provided. I asked for it last Friday or Monday via email, and we didn't get it today until 16:39. So that's my motion. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I'm just baffled. You don't know how to look up an assembly bill, but,
Well, I appreciate you laughing at what you're supposed to provide. I mean,
Commissioner Crosby, go ahead.
professionalism would be better.
Go ahead. Did you have a comment?
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't get my email till 4:39, so literally an hour and 20 minutes before this started.
Okay. Any other discussions? I guess, Commissioner Crosby, We're going to vote, Commissioner Crosby? Or-
Mr. Chair, we're taking a vote on whether or not we're gonna table this. Is that
Table it, correct,
Postpone it
correct.
till next meeting.
Correct, we're voting to see if we're gonna table it, just to be clear. Commissioner Crosby?
Yeah.
Supervisor Berg?
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Gonzalez?
No.
Commissioner O'Keefe?
Yes.
I will vote nay. However, I will forward it and we will table it for next meeting. And also, there are 2 commissioners who are also missing, so I believe then that it would also be appropriate if we do have a full commission to vote on this. So your motion passes. This will be tabled for the next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Item future scheduling. So I made a mistake. I thought that the 3rd Thursday for November was Thanksgiving, but actually it's not. I believe it's the 17th. And I believe all the rooms are booked up for the 17th.
Mr.
Here,
Chair.
is that correct?
Mr. Chair,
It's 16.
I would like to put something on the next scheduled meeting.
Okay.
The removal of you as chairman.
Okay, you could.
Second.
All right, you could email me on that. So,
Negative, Mr. Chair. The way Robert's Rules of Order is if you choose not to put items on the agenda, we can override you during a meeting by asking for a vote of the commission to have that put on the agenda. You've already told me no twice, so that's why it's being brought up voice. That's the order of Robert's Rules.
okay. So, any discussion?
On putting that on next.
On the
week's-
agenda, correct.
Yeah, I'll have some discussion. Saying a lot of the happenings is gonna fall on deaf ears, but in terms of professionalism, I find that you're not suited for this position. I feel that the chair has incorrectly responded to citizens, whether shaking head or smirking or laughing. That's not our position. Oftentimes, Mr. Chair, or excuse me, the chair has interrupted people and not allowed them to finish while they have the floor. I also feel that not putting items on the agenda for the board to vote on is also irresponsible. No matter whether Chairman Noodle likes the resolution or whatever we ask him to put on the agenda, he'll put it on there, and then he'll refer it to committee and let committee handle it from that point, no matter what it is. So that's the reason why I'm supporting a vote to remove you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any further discussions?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank you for your wanting to even step up to this commission and wanting to be chairman. Being a chairman of this commission isn't an easy task, being that I'm your co-chair. Although I have seen many things from this commission, we have moved it along further than I had seen the prior commission doing it before. I believe it was through your leadership that we've been able to move things along as well as we have. So I, for one, will not be voting to remove you as chair simply because I see you moving this commission forward more progress than it was in prior. So I just want to give my support for you and will not be voting to remove you or even to take up this as a vote.
Thank you. Any further discussions? Commissioner Garcia, O'Keefe? All right, so, I mean, I sit here hearing from Supervisor Berg indicating that I am unprofessional and that I interrupt individuals while other individuals are speaking. So, I mean, I looked at meetings that occurred prior to any of us being, well, some of us not being appointed to this commission, and there was not a chair for a few months, or even more months, so there wasn't really not much being done. So I believe that a lot of the commissioners on this commission are doing a great job. We have reports that have been completed. Commissioner Vice Chairman Gonzalez, Supervisor Thomas, they have, and Commissioner O'Keefe, they have worked hard on the law
Ms.
enforcement. Commissioner Garcia has worked hard in the education subcommittee. With the subcommittee education, I believe it was, I forgot her name, Commissioner Arrington. I did name her as a chair. I had high hopes for her, but she stepped down like recently. But Commissioner Garcia and Supervisor Thomas picked up the education committee, and they obviously submitted a report, and they already completed a report. So there has been work in progress being done on this commission. Regardless if you agree with it or you don't agree with it, then I guess that's your own personal agenda. But the fact of it being unprofessional, I do recall that we did have a special meeting back, I believe, in July at the Job Center, and we were addressing the Tunkey Award, which this commission was tasked to awarded every year. So I was just doing what this commission was tasked to. However, I received information, and I hope this is not true, and I did not confirm, but I did receive information that Supervisor Berg did call commissioners for them not to appear, so we would not have a quorum. Which you asked me who is not being professional. I think you should look in the mirror, Supervisor Berg, before you start throwing stones at individuals. So.
You know you're being recorded, so you really need to watch what you say, because
So,
you're making allegations.
I'm not making allegations or accusations. So when individuals are indicating that I'm professional, I believe I have been professional. Regardless if you agree with me or disagree with me, that's fine. So we could go for a vote. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Commissioner Garcia.
So, I know everybody loves procedure, but nobody ever waits to be called on. So for us to be like, Robert's Rule of Orders. Nobody ever waits to be called on. It's discussion, but it's actually, we're just supposed to be making statements, not back and forths. We do that a lot. So, if we're going to apply the rules, could we please just apply them evenly? Because the meetings are unproductive when the meetings need to be more productive. People need to follow the rules. It's not that difficult. That's all.
I do have something to say. Ever since you became chair, you have made this commission extremely divisive, and you didn't need to be. You brought a lot of animosity. You brought a lot of just ill will, in my opinion. I'm not going to speak for others. I know what the ultimate agenda of certain commissioners are for this committee. You just don't bring a positive vibe to this committee, in my opinion. It's always this negative feeling or negative attitude. You're disrespectful to the people that do speak. You're disrespectful to the commissioners. That's what you lack in professionalism. As a chairman, you need to rise above all of that. You have not.
I call a question, Mr. Chair.
Okay. We'll go to vote. Commissioner Crosby?
Yes.
Supervisor Berg?
Yes.
Commissioner Garcia?
I'm abstaining.
Vice Chairman Gonzalez?
No.
Commissioner O'Keefe?
No.
And I vote no. Motion fails. All right, next item on the agenda, scheduling. Kelsey, you indicated that the 3rd of Thursday of November all the rooms are booked?
1116, all 3 rooms are booked in this building.
Okay, so we might have to look to the east.
Yeah, the,
Go back downtown.
committee room of the admin building on the second floor.
That's the small room though, right?
It's closer for us.
Isn't this the same room? It's the same room that the executive committee and many of the other committees.
Meet?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I guess, well, we'll have the meeting then, at the county building. And then for December
21st.
21st is our next meeting, and it's here at the county building, correct?
Well, that's up.
Well, but the room's available, correct?
The hearing room.
The big room, correct?
The hearing room, yeah.
Okay, so in November, the meeting will be on the second floor, at the county building in downtown. If we do expect to have a large amount of people, then maybe we might go into the bigger room on the 3rd floor where the county supervisors meet, if we're able to get that room. And then on December 21st, then we will, come back to our regular place at the bigger hearing room here in the county. Any discussions on future scheduling? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is
Second.
there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, all opposed? Ayes have it.